This video is going to discuss the ability to modify the columns on our sales orders, invoices, and quotes. Selecting the Maintenance tab, going to Invoicing, Invoice Layout. Now, as you can see, there's multiple columns already here. I just added this location from this list of items that I can have as headers. So you'll see I have location. I used my arrow and brought location over to this field. And this is what the header is going to say, and this is the value of that field. So you can change this to be anything you need to change it to be for a name. Like, for example, I select that, and I just decide that I'm going to just say LOCA, or just LOC. That will make that heading LOC for location. So I added it into this area here, and it put it in on my screen up above here. So once I've gone ahead and modified that, I click OK. Then if I go over to my transactions, I go over to my, let's say, quick sale, and I hit the enter key. You can see we have location LOC here. I'm going to select this Steam Chef. It's going to ask me which serial number item I want, and I'm going to send that over. It says how many do I want, what is my cost, and or my price, and I'm going to sell this for $22,000. Okay, now I can say on this screen here, if I wanted to, I could show my cost if that's something that I wanted to see. But now that I have this set up here, I can say I got 2 in the warehouse, 0 in the showroom. If I click Set Location, I can pick where I'm going to pull this item from. Am I going to take it off the showroom floor, or am I going to take it from my warehouse? And I'm going to take it from the warehouse. So then that location will let me know that when I print out my picking ticket for the warehouse guys, they know where to find the item. And I want the one from the warehouse. I hit OK, and it tells me which serial number to pull. And then, of course, I'm going to pay cash for this, or a check, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do a packing slip. And I'm going to preview the invoice. And here's my invoice and how it was paid. So, as you can see, we can modify these forms in maintenance to give us what we want for headers on our entry screens. Now, the other thing in Invoice is Invoice Buttons, and this is where I can send any of these different fields that are available to me over to this area here, and I have multiple button rows. This is row 1, there's row 3, there's row 2, and any of these things can be populated with the values that I've gotten over here. And it's always for the invoice type. Don't use register. Okay? We can also create our own unique SKU that will allow us to create a SKU that's really not an inventory item, but it's something that we're selling, and we want to be able to see that when we look at our buttons. These could be miscellaneous items. We also have under the invoicing our touchscreen. This is a graphical touchscreen, and it's used to typically work at the counters. It does have some limitations, like looking at customers' previous items that they bought, but everything else is kind of easy. It keeps people out of the back room and allows them to make changes. And then here under controls, these are all the different buttons that are pre-designed that we can add to our screens. Here is the page numbers, that we can have multiple pages based on what we're going to have. They could jump from one page to another. So if I go to page 2 here, you can see that one looks different. And then page 3, that one's different. So these graphical touchscreen button type things can be used at the counter, and it can be possible to pull existing sales orders up and bring them up to the invoice screen here, and when the customer comes in, they could pay for it. So this does come in handy, but it's just another option to be able to sell from the counter. And the last under invoicing is MultiMonitor. And this gives you the ability, if you're active MultiMonitor, activate, you can have a customer monitor behind your monitor, and it can show things like the items as they're being rung up with the pictures, the spec, information about it that won't be on your screen, but it'll be on the customer screen with a running total. So they know what they're being paid. And then when the customer is no longer at the counter, it turns into a slideshow showing all the new product that came in. So it's like a silent salesperson. And this is something that you probably would want to have some assistance from New Vision to be able to set up these monitor screens. And they could be just about any size as long as they plug in the back of your PC. That wraps up the invoicing selections, and I hope you found some of these things entertaining and enjoyable.